Is this thing working? Is this thing live? Filmed with a mango. Hopefully this thing's working. What's happening, everybody? Everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. Internet connection is shoddy at best, and we have got, basically it's just raining like crazy. So anyway, I was going to get on here real quick with you guys doing a bit of a late night edition. But before I get rolling with that, guys, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for hopping on the live. If you're watching the live and it's after the show is filmed live, keep in mind that I will go through and remove that just complete swarm of ads that ends up getting thrown onto those videos. That's an automatic thing that's done by YouTube. So if you get onto the video after the live show and you're just getting pelted with ads, it's usually about 48 hours before that actually gets rectified. Also, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you guys that have given me the super thanks. I don't see them, but I know that they hit because I see them on the monetization side. So for you guys that have done that, thank y'all very much. It really means a ton and it helps me a lot. Unfortunately, though, like I say, I don't see them when they hit. So I can't tell each and every one of y'all thank you, but thank y'all very much. Now, getting back to it. Yeah, late night shows can be a little bit of a different animal. Usually my shows are kind of more of a PG thing, but other times when I do the late night shows, I get a little bit more opinionated. Sometimes things get a bit more lively, if you will. So anyway, and as you can tell by the screen, no, I have not gotten a new camera yet. I got to get a camera for this tablet thing that I've got here. I say tablet only because, it's like I feel like it's just one step away from, chiseling into stone. This thing has got the technology equivalent of basically something you find on the Flintstones. But as that is, we'll get around to that when we can. So let's talk Demon 170. And this is also kind of a shout out to my brethren and sisterin that are going to be getting one of these cars, but also kind of a bit of a PSA for guys that are going to be finding themselves getting their hands on one of these. First of all, if you are one of the folks that are paying $100,000 over sticker for this car, are you freaking kidding me? How very wealthy are you to be able to piss away $100,000 just to get the rights to own one of these cars? I mean, what kind of upshot is there in this? And I'm not saying this to be ugly or cruel or, trying to punch up or anything. It's not that. What I'm saying is this: you got too many people that are willing to pay $100,000 over sticker. And y'all know that there are people getting these cars at sticker, right? Y'all know that there are people that are collecting these cars that are able to buy them at MSRP. What kind of upshot is there to pay an add tag? I'm just curious. I would love to hear from somebody that is going to pay an add tag on one of these cars. And the reason why I'm asking, it's a shout out to whoever is. Let me know why. Do you think the car is worth more than $215,000? I'm just curious. And the other side to that is if you're getting one at sticker, well, congratulations. Whatever. Because here's the thing. You got so many people out there that are demon owners. So many people out there that are real racers. People that are out there at the drag strip putting in work with their Scat Pack, their RTs, their Hellcats, whatever variant you want to come up with, Trackhawks, Hellcat Durangos. A lot of guys are going to drag strips, but primarily the demon owners that will not be able to get their hands on one of these cars, and the demon owners that are being asked to pay well over sticker. That should be illegal. And I'll tell you what, if you're a demon owner and you paid over sticker for your car, how hard did you get hit when the Demon 170 made it to the party? I mean, it's one of those things where, it's kind of funny when you're the hot chick at the bar and it's, oh, everybody's looking at me. And then you turn over and Selma Hayek walks through the door. It's like all of a sudden, nobody gives a fuck about you. All right. It's the same thing with the demon. I mean, the Hellcat kind of had to go through this, right? I mean, when the demon hit the party, demon walked in thinking that man, she just had the finest rack in town. Problem is, people with Hellcats have been putting in work for about 3 years leading up to that. And, well, the Demon kind of shit the bed a little bit, frankly. I mean, it didn't run a 960 anything, and it took people basically field dressing that car to get it into the 960s and 950s. Don't lie. I was part of that as delivered record-setting group. And 977 was the legit number that the car would run. Real talk. 978 was the original number, by the way. So getting back to it, well, Demon owner sucks, but here you are, plummeting value on that car. If you paid, say, $15,000, $20,000 over sticker, you might be sitting flat money right now on that thing. Not necessarily a bad place to be, but you're not going to be making that sweet Demon cash. And the same question applies for the 170. 170 owners. If you're buying this thing because you think it's such a great investment, what happens when the next thing that shows up and waxes your 170? What then? And I can already hear it now. This is the other side of this. There's so many sides of this, like one of those Dungeons with Dragons type of dice. Here's one thing I don't want to hear out of Demon 170 owner. Well, it's got a warranty. Really? Seriously? If you're at the drag strip religiously with the car and you're putting in work and you're putting out content with that thing, then that argument makes sense. But if this thing just rolls up to Cars and Coffee, I tell you what, man, I would just, bring a couple of pitchers of water with you, because somebody's going to end up pissing on your tire. I can promise you that. There have been too many folks get clowned, and I'm talking about folks here, too many Demon owners have been clowned trying to basically show up or roll up, and it's like they're buying clout. And all of that went completely out the door, and all those good vibes got shot down when the Demon 170 hit the streets. And by the way, plenty of guys in super stocks are kind of laughing all the way to the bank. Redeye owners are digging this like you wouldn't believe, especially the ones that bought with the power dollars. And Hellcat owners are kicking back with a cold one, actually a cooler full of cold ones, laughing at everybody. Everybody's Demon variant, or rather Redeye variant, whether it's Demon 170 or this, that, or something else. There are so many 8-second cars running around right now that are legit 8-second cars. And none of these Demon 170s have been seen in the wild running an 8-second quarter mile. You better not start quoting numbers. That's all I'm saying. Showing up with your freaking Hawaiian shirt and your New Balance shoes ain't going to get you any freaking clout. Don't forget your straw hat too. Listen, don't show up and start quoting numbers, because once reality hits, people are taking these cars to the drag strip. If they're not running these numbers, you're going to be stuck in the same damn place that the original Demon owners were in. Nobody else had any hype really to live up to. Well, I guess they did, especially when you consider that the original Hellcat was NHRA rated at a 1085, and so many of us ran 1060s and 1070s with that car, and that was with drag radials. Yeah, it kind of beat the estimate. Redeyes were going out running 1050s fairly regularly. Remember that? See, this is the issue that I see with everybody that's going to own a 170. You're buying it because you want bragging rights. You want bragging rights because you think that gets you something. The reality is that it doesn't get you shit. Get the thing to the drag strip, run the number without crapping your pants when you drag off a 130 60 foot or a 127 60 foot, and do it regularly, and then we can have a talk. But unfortunately, the way I'm seeing this go down is that the folks that can afford the add tag are going to do nothing with the car but mothball it in the hopes that it's going to go up in value by about $100,000. Don't forget you've got carrying cost with that. And influencers that may have been able to pick up one of these things at MSRP at flat retail, man, I hope you do something good with it. Try not to make us all look stupid. How about that? Because I can already see it now. Headlines, right? Demon 170 versus Plaid, lose. Demon 170 versus Porsche, insert whatever turbo variant, loses to that. Demon 170 versus Maserati Gran Turismo, complete and total annihilation. It's going to start looking like that because they're not going to put the 170 on the drag strip and give it the absolute best scenario for it to win the race. They're going to go out in no prep conditions. And although that car is going to be an amazing car, talking about the 170, it takes nothing away from that car. It's just got an obnoxious set of shoes to fill. I mean, seriously, it's like trying to put a small kid into clown shoes. You're going to hype this thing up to the point where it can never perform the way that you hope that it would. Even if the numbers come together on a drag strip, they won't come together on the street. Perfect example of that's the Plaid, where you don't even put it in cheetah mode. Out on the street, it runs a 950 at about 148 miles an hour. Are you kidding me with that? So that's what you have to look forward to, and that's what you've got to have to just contend with, is you're going to get trolled if you own one of these things. Just believe that coming into it. Understand that coming into it. Don't get butt hurt when somebody rips you a new ass. That's what their car is meant to do. And you can just sit back and tell everybody, well, my car is stocked with a warranty and yours is modified. Okay, well, it's stocked with the best that the aftermarket suppliers could give them. IHI, aftermarket supercharger company. Yes, they do stuff for OEMs, but now through direct connection, IHI is a separate company. That's not Mopar. ARP, head bolts, head studs, whatever's in the thing, that ain't Mopar. And start looking at everything else that's going to go into it. Is it a GM style sensor? Who knows what the deal is? But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is you're going to get trolled. Just know that coming into it. So learn how to drive. That's all I can say. Because there's a host of guys that I would like to see. I've gone through this. Destroyer 1320, Racer X, Speedy, Jim Mopar, Orange Crush. Of course, my man Demonology. If he doesn't get one, it's freaking criminal. In fact, I was talking to him. I thought they were just going to hand him the keys to the silver car. I can't believe they didn't. And then yours truly, you've got, that is a murderer's row of record-setting drivers that have been in this game since it freaking started. And I don't know of any of those folks, including myself, that have already been wrapped up and buttoned up on a Demon 170. So again, food for thought, points to ponder, whatever, however you want to call it. But let me get to you guys real quick. Opening monologue has commenced and has hit a pause button here. Nitro is in. What's up, man? First in. Daniel is in. What's up, man? No Average RT. I like it. What's up, brother? Your booty is mine. I love the screen name. Yes, sir. Joining for the first time. Nice. I like it. Eric's in. Say good evening, Professor B. What's up, Eric? Rome is in. They said they had to strengthen the rear subframe for the Demon 170. I've been wondering what's different about it. It's just a rear cradle lockout. That's it. It is only there to keep it's just a different set of bushings in essence. That's basically it. In fact, I think that is going to be available through direct connection as well. Speedy did that to his Go Man Go car. Our folks is in saying, Eden Mopar gang, good evening, Destroy 1320. Dude, you're in. Evening, Professor. What's up, homie? I think I just got through mentioning you, as a matter of fact. Your ears must have been burning. Gary Fuller is in. What's up, homie? Destroyer's laughing. So the reason why I mentioned Destroyer, I mean, look, again, if anybody would be able to get the number out of the car, Destroyer would be. I mean, that's all there is to it. By the way, don't forget to mention, if hit the Destroyer 1320 up, get your neutral safety switch cover now. Get it now. It's easy to install. Make sure you use the right bit for whichever tamper-proof you get. Use the code Mason and get yourself 15% off of that. So do that. But yeah, Destroyer 1320's in. Scavenger 1320 is who I had mentioned earlier. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. But yeah, Destroyer 1320, get that and get that on your car, guys. don't give a thief anything easy. Don't make their job any easier than it needs to be. Sovereign Knights in, got the cadence. I like it. I'm saying, just a lockout kit. TK made it sound like they really did something. No, dude. Yeah, talking about Tim Kaniskis. No, that's it. It's just a lockout, man. Listen, and let me wrap this into that too. So all of us have been running mid 9s into the 8s, mid 8s without the lockout kit. So, I mean, does it help? I mean, you get the right tire at the right pressure, it doesn't seem to bother it so much. If you're hitting it with radials, that's a different story. But, and even with radials, it doesn't, and that's when you're hitting it on like a hardcore radial prep. And this is getting into some drag racing nerd stuff, but a hardcore radial prep is going to be, you can't walk onto the launch pad of a radial prep track. I mean, it will strip the soles right off of your shoes. Whereas a slick prep is not going to be nearly as aggressive. But yeah, it's definitely something that, I mean, does it help? Maybe. I don't know. I know the Mustang guys swear by it. So I haven't ever found myself in need of one. I'll put it to you that way. Our folks say, staying cautiously optimistic after swapping out the rear links. Challenger hasn't popped over the bumps that it used to. So fingers crossed. Nice. Yeah, we ran, like I said, I ran BMRs on the back of quite a few of the heavier artillery builds that we had. Never had an issue, but also never had an issue with the stock stuff either. So the BMRs were a little bit more compliant. Story saying, appreciate that. Absolutely. Hey, listen, guys, seriously, support the folks that are supporting us. Destroyer 1320's got a really cool product out there. It's helped a lot of guys from getting their car lifted. They can't get in there. It makes it just a pain in the ass for the guys to pop that neutral safety switch and push the thing out so that somebody can lift it with a tow truck or whatever the case might have been. Anything to help stave off the thief is a major deal, especially in today's climate that we're living in. I've got one on my car. Installation is easy, and would recommend it to everybody out there. Boosting said DSS will not warranty their drive shafts without the cradle lockout. That's funny. I've never had DSS ever decline a warranty. But here's the thing, though. So DSS doing all is okay. So quick question for you: is DSS using the CV joints on both ends now? Is that a permanent deal that they're doing? I had the prototype drive shaft and it worked pretty well. So, Joseph's in on the neutral switch cover. Very nice. Very worth it. Yeah, and make sure you use whatever bit is appropriate for whichever hardware he sends you. Boost said, yeah, CV on both ends, no adapter. So I'm not going to say I helped to develop it. I helped to test it. In fact, I was one of the guys that was screaming at the top of their lungs to quit putting U-joints on these cars. The problem with the LX platform and why you can only have CV joints is because the drive shaft doesn't go from the transmission to the diff. Okay. The drive shaft comes out. If you're looking at it as just a one piece, it would be kind of crooked like that, which if you've got a U joint, it shouldn't be a problem, but it is. There's a harmonic that kicks in anyway. Twin CV joints is what was needed. So very good. Sovereign B, what did you think about the resurgence of the AC Cobra for the modern variant? Man, I tell you what. So here's where I'm at with that. I don't know if I like it because it's like I like it, but I don't. That one's a little bit too cartoonish for me. And it's not that I don't like the car. It's that it has to meet modern safety standards. And so there's some proportions that aren't exactly eye-pleasing about it. But I'm happy to see it hit the streets. What I would love to see him do with the same energy is to put a Daytona coupe together, modern version of that. Let's see. But getting back to it, guys, yeah, any of the guys that I had mentioned would have been perfect for the 170. And the problem is, I'll put it to you like this. The problem that I see is you don't have enough true racers that will be able to get their hands on that car and actually give it the best chance that it has to run the number that it can run. Now, you're going to have a few that will, don't get me wrong. And I know that there's a few of the Demon owners that have already checked out of their Demon specifically to buy this car, which is fantastic. And I know that there are some guys that will actually get out there and do it. My problem that I have, again, is, man, this is going to be few and far between when it comes to what just the sheer numbers will be that are going to be at the drag strip. And I hate to say it, but once the journos get their hands on this thing, I mean, guys, it's going to be all over but the crying. You're going to see people doing all kinds of stupid stuff with these cars. And remember that the more power that you make, the less margin for stupidity that you have. And this is one of those times where I look at a car and I think, you've got a set of tires on the car that are not meant for any kind of handling whatsoever. Somebody's going to be an idiot and take it to Willow. How much you want to bet? You've got a situation with a car where you can't just map the throttle and have some kind of magic happen with traction control and all of that. Nothing is that sophisticated with this car that I'm aware of. I know you can drop down, launch RPMs, and there's a lot of different things you can do, but I can already see how this car, somebody's going to make a complete ass of themselves in this car, and that is going to be on rinse and repeat for probably 7 or 8 channels that I can think of. So, it's going to be, oh my God, it's going to be cringeworthy. And I feel like, and I got this like energy right now about that car that it's going to be like whatever the Demon was from a cringy standpoint, this thing's going to take that and multiply it times 10 with what you're going to see on the internet. Oh yeah. Sovereign's got the YouTube for the Destroyer 1320 neutral switch. I think that's the install video. Check that out. And I think there's a link on that video to where you can wrap back around and get on to Destroyer 1320's website, so you can get you one of those covers. I'd love to see Destroyer 1320 get a 170 though. I know he could get a number out of the car and it'd just be cool to, that somebody that is supporting the folks that are in this to get something like that. There's some folks that I feel like deserve one, and D1320 is one of them. Let's see. Rome's liking the fact the 170 doesn't have any flares up front. It's a good looking car. No doubt about that. Joe's saying, B. Mason heard thing. Love your thoughts. E85 going mainstream and Demon E85 Fuel Tech going mainstream. Not lightly because corn is so rare. The thing is that if you have the opportunity to run E85, whether you're getting Ignite E85 or Pump E85, if there's an opportunity to have a fuel system that can recognize that, that's really the game changer part of it. I mean, we've seen with the Redeyes, you can pick up 4 to 5% in horsepower just by switching and tuning on that fuel alone without any timing changes or anything like that. So, and when I say 4 to 5, you're like, that doesn't sound like much. When you're talking something that's making 800 horsepower, it's going to be, 40, 45 horsepower in some cases. Sorry, cringe on a whole other level. Yeah, Sovereign. Yeah, post his URL for Destroyer 1320 for sure. Yeah, get that up there so folks know how they can get that switch. There he is. Yeah. Or the switch cover. Tad saying, rather have a Viper ACR over a Demon 170. Well, there's one right there. And that guy right there was wearing that helmet right in the middle, right there. It's a 99 ACR. And that was literally 20 years ago. Almost, it's been just the other side of 20 years ago this month. Joseph's in flat spot. Just keep that 170 away from Gas Monkey and I'll be fine. Real freaking talk. Seriously. Good point, Flat, for sure. But yeah, I mean, for the guys that are really going to be hardcore with the 170, you're getting yourself a really cool car. Oh, wait, I missed one. I kicked over somebody up here with the Boost is saying, yeah, CV on both ends, no adapters. And then somebody had mentioned that, oh, Boosted, yeah, I broke my front CV joint in my DSS because I didn't have a cradle lockout. Interesting, but fixed it for 150. So that's something new. I didn't realize that there was an issue with those. So good to know. Good to hear. I've been running the Redeye drive shaft that Behemoth gave me. And God, there's nothing like a stock drive shaft. I mean, super silky. By the way, guys, I don't know if y'all had a chance to see it yet. I did a what's he up to type of video today with me going over some tuning. Well, actually, I was data logging the tune for Stormy. I'm about 1 or 2 revisions away from it really being a wrap. I need to go ahead and just cut it and chalk it with that truck's tune. I just keep finding little things I can tweak, and I'll go in and go, well, let me change this shift point a little bit here, a little bit there. And I'll tell you what, that truck runs really freaking good. So with less than stellar barometric pressure and, you know, just kind of a funky about it, the truck still is really peppy. I mean, 355 gears are what that truck should have come with. Where I was making the hits in Velocito, they're doing a lot of dirt work. Way further back, they're doing some like overpass or bridge work or whatever. And they're also there's like dirt trucks and things like that are going up and down the test area. And so there's like this light coating of dust, and then it rains. It's been raining every day for like the last week. So anyway, it's just kind of funky over there. So there's no prayer for traction with that thing. But it's funny, that truck is filling a void that I didn't even realize that I had. So when I wrapped up everything for Revlon, I mean, there's no tuning revisions left to do to Revlon. I did the absolute, I just made the valet mode nasty to where, I mean, you barely get the thing around the driveway or around the shop if you needed to, and in and out of the driveway if you need to move it, but that's about it. The thing won't go really more than about 12 miles an hour. And there's no way you can undo that. You could you would have to have it at a dealership to be able, actually, I don't know if you could do that. There would be a component swap involved to get that valet mode unvaleted. In other words, you could remove the ECU, put the ECU back, put another ECU in the car. It'll still be in valet mode. So you can load a tune, you can unload the tune. It's still going to be in valet mode. So it would be very difficult to unvalet it. But that's the last thing that I did in the tune on that car was just play around with the valet mode. The car is so good. And so, and that's not like, it's so good. Look at me. Listen, after about a bajillion different revisions, believe me, you're even a broke clock's right twice a day. Right. So, but anyway, I didn't even realize that, I had missed it. And so I've been playing around with Stormy. And the funny thing about Stormy is that in the DT Rams, there are so many more levels to nannyism in those trucks. And anyway, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. And and it's a lot of fun. Valet mode, scat pack mode. I tell you what, I love driving the thing around in 500 horse mode. Y'all know that. I mean, and it's funny. People go, why would you do that? That doesn't sound like it is fun. And it's just, it's a different driving experience. I get to have two different cars in one if I wanted to. And actually I could, in valet mode, make it like an RT. So I could make the car basically dump the bypass open at, say, 1 pound of boost in essence, instead of 5, and have it only make, say, 400 horsepower. You know, let's say 2 pounds of boost. So I'd only be making about 400 horsepower with the thing. And in that respect, except for I'd be kind of screwed on the transmission modes. By the way, I tried to get it to where it would lock it into first and it still would go into second. So, but yeah, it's more usable in valet mode for practical driving. I'll tell you what, it's useless in valet mode. The way I've got that thing tuned in valet, I mean, you're stuck. It's stuck in second gear and it won't go above 1,000 RPM. So, but yeah, it's, and I, by the way, yes, I did have to kill a couple of codes to get the car to do that without throwing a check engine light. So, Flat saying, thanks for the Destroyer heads up. Absolutely. Easily put mine in last week and quick delivery. Nice. Very good. Yeah, he got me mine really quickly too. You guys, don't forget code word Mason, or what is it? Whatever that, however you call it. Yeah. Anyway, put in Mason, you get a discount, and you'll be protecting your car, and you're supporting somebody that's supporting all of us too. I will say this though, watch out. They can be sometimes a little bit sharp. If you just rub it the wrong way, you can end up getting a little ouchy. But it just means that you bled on your car, so you're good. Joseph's asking, could one create valet mode and scat pack and scat with a new key fob and tuning? Well, you could. Well, it depends. If your car has a valet mode that does restrict horsepower, then yeah, you 100% can, but you have to have valet mode. And I think at one time, only the SRTs, which would now be known as the Dynamics package cars, had the valet mode. Because you got to remember, back then, the SRT was just a Hellcat, had everything that the Hellcat had except for the Hellcat power plant. Just like a Grand Sport. But yeah. Oh, Siren saying, yeah, I mentioned it earlier. My Faraday pouch is starting to develop the same issues yours has. So let's talk about Faraday pouches. Oh, and I've got my other one with me too. So hold please, gentlemen. Let me get all this broken down. I've got so many keys over here. Hold on. So since we're talking, Destroyer 1320 is on, here's what I want to talk to you guys about. So this is one of the brands that says Winslow Pro or whatever. This is more of like a canvas, whereas these type are kind of this plastic carbon fibery looking deal. This canvas one, it's Wisdom Pro. Hooked on Phonics works for me. You can't really read it, especially with this awesome camera situation I got. Anyway, Wisdom Pro is what it looks like. It's the canvas one, a little bit bigger. It has it claimed to have the double lining. This one here is, I have to admit, seems to be of a better quality. There ain't no leaking out of this one. I wonder if it'll leak out of one of these. We're going to get to these and why I'm not a big fan of them here in just a second. But first, let me try something here. Now this one's doing fine. But what ends up happening is, and what can happen, what I've discovered, is if on your key fob, I can get my act together here. What I've noticed is if on your key fob, if you have any of the key rings over here, what can happen is that they seem to damage the Faraday pouch in a way that it allows or disallows, either it allows the RF to get out or it damages this in a way that just breaks down the integrity of the mesh itself, allows that signal to get out. It's still hard to pick up on, but it still allows it to get out. These that have the key ring thing inside of them, I wouldn't trust this. I would, if I were to actually use this, I would cut that out of there just so that I don't have something else rubbing that mesh. Also, this is claimed to be single, just a single mesh, whereas these Wisdom Pros are double lined. From what I can tell anyway, the beefiness of this thing is significantly more. This thing's super floppy. This, even with the fob out of here, is actually a bit more of a robust thing. So definitely seems to be a little bit more padded. It's got like a padding feel to it where this doesn't. So all of that can come together. By the way, if you want to find this, is look these up on Amazon. And you can also find, oh shit, Day Destroyer 1320, if you're still on. There are companies that make a solid steel case that would be cool as shit. I don't know how sophisticated your ability to cut and form would, if that would even allow it, if it'd even be dollars and cents wise worth doing. But I've seen the metal cases and they're pretty cool. And that would eliminate any issues that you would have with deforming or anything like that. Again, just different ways to look at keeping that RF signal in there. So, but this, I got a bit of a problem with that. But yeah, D1320 Faraday cage would be cool as shit because, like I say, there's metal ones. They look like Zippo lighters, and basically they eliminate the. Well, for one, they're metal, and so you're encasing the thing in something that's metal. But two, and more to the point, they're just not going to flop around like these would flop around. So anyway, something to think about. But oh, sorry to say, water patch 2 RF leakage. Yep, same one that I have started to act up. But yeah, those are what the things that I employ to keep my stuff safe. Valet tune that you can't get out of, which is going to ruin anybody's day if they get it started, aside from being locked up, and definitely behind closed doors. Faraday pouch, Destroyer 1320's neutral safety deal. And what else? Oh, RFID, the RF hub is bricked on my car too. So I've done quite a bit to seriously hamper, at least make my car significantly more difficult and much more annoying if you end up stealing it. It would just be a major pain in the ass. And once they got started on mine, believe me, they would get done with it pretty quickly. They'd be like, screw this, we need to find an easier mark. And there are a lot of easy marks, and that's the best way to go about it. Oh yeah, talking about the disabling the throttle. It's real easy. It's just a kill switch. The throttle itself is just a rheostat. There's nothing else to it. So you can, in effect, hook up a kill switch to your throttle pedal, to your starter, to just anything really that runs on electricity. You can put a kill switch on, and that's how his was failed. And the only downside to a throttle lockout is that the car will immediately tell you that it doesn't have signal from the throttle body. It'll throw a throttle body code. So, but you got to find the kill switch, right? I mean, doesn't matter if it's telling you what's up. Obviously, there's something wrong with the throttle anyway. So giving you a warning light, it's like, okay. But yeah, no, there are multiple ways you can hook up kill switches to your throttle or throttle body anyway. Oh, Flat Spot saying taser pin feature works great. Yep, that with the neutral cover is making me feel safer now. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's, you know, like I say, and the other build, this is kind of funny. The other, I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. My other built-in, you want to call it a theft deterrent system, is just the fact that the 2015s and some of the 2016s have glitchy Uconnects. Sometimes they just don't come on. So if that doesn't come on, you really can't even put it. You can't even put in your code at all to unlock it. So kind of a funny deal. But yeah, lots of options out there. And again, the Hellcat is just the flavor of the month in terms of cars getting stolen. Back in the day, it was Chevy pickups and Fox bodies were all the rage to steal, and they were super easy. Chevy trucks were the craziest easy to steal. Y'all are gonna love this. I haven't always run with the cleanest of crowds, so I knew a dude that was linked with some vehicle disappearances, and told me about a car that he was looking at. And he goes, yeah, man, I was thinking about, you know, and we would tell him, look, you know, stay away from these, right? Just, we don't want to know about what else is going on. There's some nefarious things that go on, and some people that have done things that, anyway, long story short, I was told that my car, Foxy, was being targeted. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So, I had to have some words with the gentleman over that. That's a lot of years ago, though. That's about 20, it's almost 25 years ago. But an early 20s version of myself was somebody that was a little bit hot-tempered. So anyway, yeah, it's funny. Anyway, back in the day, you had those vehicles were super, super targeted. And yeah, there's always some kind of vehicle that's going to be easy to steal. Well, the problem is now, if you have a Ford, Fords are actually easier than Mopars to steal. And there's a lot of folks that are stealing Ford pickup trucks right now. So, you know, it doesn't matter what you got. If you've got something nice, then it's going to be something worth stealing, and, you know, make life miserable for a thief and have them go, you know, pick on somebody else's car and leave yours alone. I can tell you this, there's quite a few Hellcat variants and Scat Packs running around in my neck of the woods, and all of them have got some things done to them to keep them from getting lifted. So, again, and the other, one of the best old school ways to really deter a thief, get you a club. Yeah, and it's kind of funny. It sounds kind of like campy, but I can tell you that anybody rolling up on a ride, if it's got a club on it, you're going to move on right past it. It's not worth even trying to fool with. And I know some guys can pick them quickly. Believe me when I tell you that most modern thieves cannot. Flat Spot say, do you think the 170 is getting folks thinking more about running on corn now? We've had most all of the faster cars that we messed with, all of them were on E85. Every single one of them. Fun fact, used to not like putting race gas combinations together. And the reason why we didn't like putting race gas combinations together is because people like to try to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde their way through a race gas formula. And you say, okay, well, what kind of race gas do you want? There's a big difference between C16, Q16, Sunoco GT260, GT260 Plus, MS109. I mean, you have to stick with a certain fuel anyway. So it's great. I mean, we used to tell guys, look, if E85, the reason why you love E85 is because it's heavily oxygenated because of the ethanol. So you get power there. And it's extremely forgiving. And in fact, anything above E50, E45, E50, E55, and up, that's all you need. That's when you're going to have a fuel that is going to be very forgiving for atmospheric conditions, very forgiving for timing, being a little bit on the aggressive side. It will start to lose power in many cases. E85 will start to lose power before it will actually pre-ignite. So that's a really good thing. Whereas some race gas, well, all race gas is quality stuff. Sunoco, VP, they're both very high quality products, but they just don't have the forgivability, if you will, for lack of a better way of putting it, that E85 has. Jason's saying, plan on doing a can in my 17 RT. Would you recommend putting the Stanky Motorsport stabilizer, Stanky Tie Bars and collars while in there? Doing that along with Hellcat oil pump and a 180 thermostat. So yes, I would, especially if you plan on spinning that thing hard. Stanky Tie Bars and collars are awesome. Just remember on your collars, for your tie bars, torque them down to the factory spec. For your, which I think is 19 foot-pounds. But just check that anyway. I might be very wrong with that. It's 5,007 inch though, so you need to get filler gauges, and it's 5 thousandths is the clearance that you need to be adhering to for your collars, and then you'll be in good shape with that. So I was saying Throttle Club would be better. I think problem is that, so there's two, you don't want anything that you can hook to the steering wheel going to your pedal, because all you got to do is move the steering wheel, right? But there were brake pedal locks. It's just a little bit more of a pain in the ass to set up. But the brake pedal lock is another way to go about it. Guys with manuals would use them for their clutch pedal, because you can't start the car unless if it's got a neutral or a clutch shutoff or interrupt. You can't start the car, and obviously you can't drive a manual. Well, you can, but you ain't going to start off anyway unless you've got a clutch. So I'm saying brake pedal lock. Yeah, all of them are good. I mean, you can do one of each. Put a club in it with a pedal lock. I mean, just, have whatever works. All of them are good. All of these systems, though, can be defeated. So don't think that, it doesn't matter what you get on the car. It can be defeated. You can have the thing. I mean, you can litter it with air tags. You can litter it with GPS tracking devices. You can put pedal locks, steering wheel locks, don't let the car go over 5 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour. You can put kill switches in it. All of that can be defeated, fairly easily by a tow truck or, other means, right? So let's just understand that coming into this. If somebody targets your car and they want it badly enough, there's ways to separate you from your property. It's just, most thieves are not going to want to go through the headache and the hassle and take the risk of really trying to get hands-on in that respect. Is move on to the next car. I mean, it's a game, and whether you like it or not, you're playing in it. And so you want to come into this with with enough understanding on board to know that there are ways you can make your car significantly less appetizing, if you will. But yeah, if somebody wants it, anything, they can get it. But again, these cars will be hot for a while, and then it'll be something else. That's just the way that this works out. In other words, it'll be hot for a while, and then it'll fade away, and then people that were boosting these things will start to get popped. And that's the other thing. They always get caught. And I know this, it's not firsthand, but secondhand, that, nobody will oversell the risk to reward factor for stealing cars. People take that stuff real seriously and personally. And that's the other unfortunate side to this. And I know of somebody that had to deploy a lethal deterrent, unfortunately. And that sucks. But, that guy was armed too. He was trying to steal the car. Bad situation. But, that's the world we live in, So they're again, if you deploy the right tactics, the right hardware, the right software, your car will be safe, and you'll be safe, and that's the most important thing. And just remember, don't try to be a hero. Don't do anything stupid like that. But getting back to that 170, guys, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this thing. Are you impressed by it? Do you think it's neat? We're going to be a long way away now from that car hitting the market. And this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. Remember I said if you're an influencer and you've got one of these things, you need to be making content with it. You need to be doing all of that. It's got to be able to generate revenue, right? But, and this is the big but, it really only matters if you're first to the party, right? So y'all know that Leno did a video with the car, right? Like, it's not at the drag strip or anything, but there's already legit content on the internet with this car. That takes away. It takes away the initial pop. Now, no, I don't believe there was any drag strip action there. But that's not the point. There's already content leaking out. It's not money shot content. Don't get me wrong. I know what you're thinking. It's not money shot content, but damn it, it's still content. And that didn't happen really with the Demon, not that I can remember. Does that upset you, Demon 170 owner? That there's already content, especially if you're online or an online influencer of any kind. How does that make you feel? I need to know this. Because if it were me, I would be a little bit pissed. Like, I want to be the one with the street shots. I want to be the one getting the driving impressions. Yes, it's a grin generating appliance. I understand that. But since they're already coming out and there's already a lot of low 9-second Hellcats running around anyway, does it do you any good? Like, are you anyway? I'm just curious because here's the thing. Leno's just the first. You know that there's going to be a gas monkey, Richard Rawlings thing. You know that there's going to be a TFL car thing. You know that somebody else is going to get their hands on it, and it's going to be that thing before the real cars start to hit. And now you're going to have existing content. And this ain't a whet the appetite kind of thing either, guys. I mean, once the first car goes down the first drag strip out in the wild, you can only be first once. There's only going to be one first. Everything else is going to immediately start to hemorrhage value when you start to talk about what is the value of the content going to be. Then it's going to be, okay, we got to start modifying this thing. That business model has been established, hasn't it? First 170 in the sevens or whatever the case is. Will anybody care? We've already got Hellcats in the sevens. Those are just modified versions of the same car. I mean, look, and I don't mean, God, this sounds so like sour grapes-ish, right? And I understand that completely. But I guess the point that I'm making is we're living in an era now where it's so easy to troll really fast cars with off-the-shelf cars, like right off the showroom floor Plaids, right off the showroom floor at one point P100Ds, right off the floor Porsches. Right? There's so many obnoxiously fast cars out there now. How far ahead does the Demon 170 have to be and still hold on to the victory? Like, you can win, but I'll put it to you like this. You'll know what I mean when I say this. You realize you can win, but you won't win by enough. You won't win convincingly enough to live up to the hype. So that's my only real concern is, will this contraption live up to the hype? Sorry, I'm saying Debbie Downer on the Demon. I'm just talking about reality with the Demon. And the issue that I have is that the people that I want to see get them ain't going to get them. And I'm not talking about, oh, just one person gets it, it's a win. No, it ain't. If all of them don't get it, it ain't a win. This is a deal where you've got to hit on everybody, all those guys. And again, Destroyer 1320, Scavenger 1320, Speedy, Demonology, Racer X. All of these guys have to get their hands on one, or else it's not going to sit well. In me, yours truly, Jim, Mopar, all the guys that have set records, all the guys that have kept Mopar on the lips of people out in the wild, all the guys that have been putting in the work for these cars, all the guys that have been out there. I forgot too. Fastest super stock and Ron Silva. Why don't these guys get them? These are all guys that have been in contention, butting heads with each other with demons and super stocks leading up to this. And by the way, living through the headaches that the screwed up tunes, the screwed up transmission tunes from the factory, that y'all didn't hear about that, right? Well, that's part of the issue with the Redeye variants. Some of them do have jacked up transmission tune issues. So it's it's just one of those things. It's just a complete headache. So someone's saying Nick's Garage. I wouldn't mind Nick's Garage so much. Nick seems like a good guy, but man, it's his early stuff was pretty good, but I just get to I like that the videos are as long as they are, because they're good to have a long form. So yeah, Nick is a lot more old school. But yeah, it'd be cool if he could get his hands on it. But y'all get the idea. I mean, that's the thing. There's two guys from Canada, Jim and Nick, that should get one. Hell, if anything, they've got the best air out of anywhere. I mean, it would be perfect. So, again, just my 2 cents on the 170, and I'm going to keep shelling that out until I actually start seeing some real content on that car. But again, you got to be first to it. And what sucks is if you have influencers, like legit racers, not dumbass with cash, okay? But real honest to God racers are going to be running this thing at a drag strip. What's going to suck is if they get their hands on one after journalists, other media outlets, or whatever the case is, have got their chance to get that thing to a drag strip. The second that happens and that number gets posted, it's going to devalue that content coming from the other guys. Oh, Dan saying Nick has a 2015 Hellcat. He's old and new. Actually, Nick's car is a 6-speed car too. Which, by the way, is a really good car. Fun car. But guys, we're coming up on an hour. Got a little bit of a late start this morning, this afternoon. I got to wake up early in the morning. Hey guys, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And but with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out with me. Would not do this without you. Guys, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. And with that, that is a wrap. Y'all have a great one. Adios.